Welcome to the Wisconsin High School Curling Championships with George Hirsch, that's me, and Dan Garrett, assistant coach for the varsity squad at DC Everest. We bring you action in the third round, which is very important because the third round can determine who is involved in the semis later today. We did 4 games yesterday. This is game 2 of the day, and we have semi and final coming up yet this afternoon. This is from the facility that is second to none, certainly in the state of Wisconsin, here from the Wausau Country Club, with action in N3 beginning on the girls' competition. Wausau West 2, which means they were like a JV team or a second team, but they qualified for state because you have to qualify for state. So that means they're competitive.
Yes.
And they're in here for a reason. And they're taking on Waupaca. And Waupaca has a good varsity team. And they're showing it now with a 5-0 lead as we get into N number 3. And this tournament has 16 girls teams, 16 boys teams, and they're working down after this round robin. They are in brackets. For example, Waupaca and Wausau West are in the Poinet Party Bill bracket. And brackets are set up on a draw. It's not seeding like a lot of other sports happen to have. They do seed the semifinal. So 1 takes on 4 in whatever they determine, and then 2 takes on 3 for the final coming in. So Dan, Garrick, your job is to help with strategy here in this contest, okay? So we've got Wausau West at the hack, and you can take over the strategy.
So I like to say for the bracket, it does seed. So at the top left of the bracket, it'd be number 1 seed.
Yeah,
and
but
then,
I'm talking about the draw, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They're all drawn in, and then, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so each bracket, each column would go into a pool, and then the winner of the pool would move on to semis and all that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we are now in N3. You can see the score. We'll be taking a look at their scoreboard, which is different in scoring than any other sport that I'm aware of. This is something more for the viewers to be able to see what the score is on our monitor at 5-zip. Right now, our first stone was thrown down the ice by the second. The West 2 team, their lineup is Caroline Kurth, the freshman, is lead. Trylin Verstegen, a junior, is second. The vice skip or third is Kenna McFadden, another junior. And Maggie Hintz, the skip, is a sophomore.
Yeah.
For Waupaca, Brooklyn Pio, this is all junior team by the way for Waupaca. They're all juniors. Brooklyn Pio's first. Maya Wozinski is second. Sienna Tim is their vice skip or third, and Grace Hansen is their skip. So those are the competitors on the ice. There will be from time to time that we'll be able to show you who's doing what on our monitor. Right now we're just taking a look at, if you look at the buttons, you can tell, okay, this happens to be the second for what team. And coming out of the hack right now,
looks a little bit light. Probably not. Get there. It's got to get there. I'd say that's a perfect guard if you're going to block any shot like that.
Oh, well, they're in great shape to, I mean, they're already up 5-zip.
Yeah.
So,
any strategy to like block anything to get taken out of the house, especially in like a double takeout like that, is a perfect guard.
This is the second shot for Wausau West. Tyrin Versteigen, their second. And the hammer belongs to West because Waupaca scored in the last end, and that's how they determine who goes first after the first opening, of course. Okay, so now the strategy, Dan?
Just trying to block the house. Don't want to let West try and get as many points as it can. Trying to limit them down to their last draw by the skip. So, if anything, I would do if I was West, I would just keep drawing around, take anything out at the last end. Just try and pack the middle full, and then.
And that comes from having the hammer.
Yes.
So their strategy for having the hammer and not having the hammer, that's a little different. Okay.
Usually when you have the hammer, you want to play very safe, but you don't want to let the team take anything out of the house for you. So I would just play outside, so they would mainly ignore it, hopefully forget about it, and go for a different strategy in a takeout game.
Mm-hmm.
So playing outside would be very key if I was West.
And this is their first rock for the third. By skip. Certainly heavy enough to reach as a guard. And again, we're early in this competition. We're in the third end, so there's a long way to go. And some ends you see this concentric circle with all kinds of rocks in it. Sometimes it's basically empty, but unless there's a blank, nobody scores, somebody scores. And nobody loses what they've earned. That's one factor of curling.
Mm-hmm. You can't just take away points.
Right. Okay, that was a little raise. And how about the scoring, Dan?
The scoring depends, or scoring works by having the closest stone to the center of the house, which is that big target on the ice. So having a stone in the 12-foot, in the 8-foot, in the red, or the 4-foot would get you closer and closer to the center. If you have two very close stones, you would just measure it out by grabbing one of the tools off the wall and bringing it or dragging it across the ice with a pressure gauge going across the front of the stone very gracefully to measure how much pressure it will give off.
We haven't had, I haven't, so far in this tournament this weekend, from yesterday and the first game tomorrow, I haven't seen that being used. But again, we're watching a monitor here. We're up in the loft watching a monitor. That's what we base our broadcast on, or commentate. And so there are 7 other rinks going on down below that we don't really know what's happening, which is okay. And now you can see behind bleacher side of the rink. We are in number 3. There are 8 sheets. That's as many as any state competition has, any curling club has. Very few, in fact, in the country.
Yeah, we are one of the highest rated curling clubs in the states. We've held U.S. men's and women's nationals here, U18 qualifiers, and a whole bunch of other competitions like Badger State Games.
Well, and the Dennis Teege invite is even bigger than this one.
Yes.
Because I remember doing that one year. And that's the biggest in the state, too, in terms of just being like a Bonspiel or whatever you want to call it.
Yes, I think it brought in around 44 or 46 teams
Yeah.
across the state.
And see, we have 32
Yes.
involved here. 4 brackets girls, 4 brackets with 4 boys. And yesterday, all the boys were on the ice at one time, and then the girls. Today, it's 50-50. So right now, there are 4 girls teams competing, and then there are 4 boys teams involved. But the ice is busy, all 8 rinks. Okay, we're back to action now with Wausau West. The last shot coming up.
First shot for Skip.
Yeah, the skip, the first shot of the skip. Yeah, they have the hammer, you can see that. The 2 buttons means that's how many rocks they have left.
Yeah.
To toss or release. A lot of terminology. There's more than one way to describe it in this sport. Just like sometimes they're sweepers or broomers or whatever the case might be.
Brushers.
Brushers, yeah, there's another term. Yeah, unusual. Pretty empty house.
Yeah, a lot of guards. Always love to see guards.
Well, it makes it more difficult for West to come back, doesn't it? I mean, they're down 5-0, and there's nothing in the house for them. Pretty difficult.
But it works out for Waupaca.
Yeah. It has. Their strategy seems to be dominating in terms of success up to this point in this competition. Okay, this is the skip. Again.
Grace Hansen lining up.
Yeah, all junior squad for Waupaca. Grace Hansen is their skip. She follows it. Some, when they release at the hog line, they stay put and just kind of watch it going down. Well, okay.
It's a good shot.
Yeah. Now, Wausau West with the yellow. Waupaca right now has 1 point,
Yes.
correct? Closest to the button. This is unusual. And it favors Waupaca.
Absolutely.
Because they've got one back there. They know where they can put a draw on either side, or they can add whatever they want.
What I would go for is trying to draw back in the center line of the back of the house. Trying to tap that Waupaca stone out and maybe sit 2. Or just go for a wide open draw on the left side. Right side coming down.
Well, they can get on the board here.
Weight looks good.
Okay. So they get 1. So they are on the board. So after the end of 3 now, it is Waupaca 5 and Wausau West 2, 1. That's kind of how these games have gone in this tournament. Is one team seems to be ready to go, has it all figured out in terms of ice and all those sorts of things, and the other one comes back. They settle down and they make, because we had a game yesterday where it was 7-1 and it ended up 9-8.
Yep.
So it doesn't mean you're out of it if you're down early. You can always come back, and at all times, sometimes it just takes 1 rock.
Yeah. It's still early enough to figure out the ice and try and use that to your advantage.
So now we're in N4. And the hammer belongs to
Waupaca.
Waupaca. So we've got the West girl lead. Caroline Kurth, she's a freshman, leading out for N4 with the first rock or stone.
Yep.
I'm still amazed, Dan, that these kids can skip around that rock and not touch it.
I know.
It's just,
Takes a lot of practice.
well, it's like a lot of different things involved here. You practice. Practice, I think, is practice and experience for curling.
Mm-hmm.
Because you probably, and also position in your team, your rink, first, second, third, and fourth, you take advantage of their skills more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the leader, obviously the skipper has certain skill. Yeah, look at how close, and they're not touching it.
Inches away.
Yeah, and they're working.
Working very hard. Trying to heat up that ice.
Okay, that's going to be. There's more in the house now than there was in N3 till the last rock. And the white, or 8 foot.
8 foot.
Yep. There you can see the scoreboard.
Yep.
The yellow, that means that
West
scored 1. Okay. The very similar situation with the sweep here. It's more like they're looking at a guard.
just trying to block Waupaca from taking their stone out in the back 8.
Okay. Skip setting up strategy. Pretty much open house. First shot for the second for Waupaca. Both these schools are blue colors, so they have uniforms.
They do.
And that's something in high school curling, you see a little bit of everything, because some teams will have a uniform like these do, the whole outfit. Some will maybe just have a vest, some will have nothing, and you're just an individual, and that's fine. They have no guidelines in that regard. I'm sure there are some in terms of decency, but then also there's no time limit on the rink. Now they're encouraged to try to get their ends in 15, 16 minutes, 17 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Looking about 15 minutes.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it always happens, and there's no clock. And so the bigger the competition, and I know a lot of you watching this have watched the Olympics, obviously, because it's curling's ultimate. They had a clock there that everybody could see. And I don't remember them ever being penalized, because they just knew what to do, how to do it.
So
And the other factor, I think, Dan, too, is early on now, they don't take as much time to make a decision. When you get to 7 and 8 end, it takes a little longer.
yeah, depending on how close the game is, I would definitely choose my shots very carefully, especially with trying to be 2 steps ahead of the other competition. Because trying to be ahead is going to get you farther. Going to get you more points, going to get you farther in the competition.
Okay, another release. This is Waupaca's
Shot.
yeah, take out on top. Lots of room to get in there.
Yep.
Okay. Wausau West. First shot for their third in this N4. Kenna McFadden. They have a freshman, a sophomore, and a couple of juniors.
They got everything.
Yeah,
A little too heavy.
That's all right.
That's all right.
All to play. Okay, Waupaca in the solid blue uniforms. Yeah, a couple of versions of a cap or a hat. This is Santa Tim.
Really needs to get there. Gotta get that.
My mistake. It was Maya Wazinski instead with her second rock. Wide open, pretty much.
Solely constricted.
Another release. For Wausau West. Kenna McFadden. Waupaca, after 3 ends, is ahead 5-1. We're in N4 here. We pick up action for our broadcast in N3. Part of it's a time limit. The viewers' demographics indicate they don't watch something over 2 hours. And so we cut that down to about an hour and 45 minutes of our broadcast time. And part of it's memory on the equipment, technological situation with all the equipment.
Try not to overwork it. You still need it.
Okay, Santa. She's a vice skip. We can pick her out with a cap now. We don't have to look at anything else. She's got an out. Oh no, they're trying to straighten it out.
Trying to bump it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Get it far enough.
Well, right now, I would say Waupaca has 1
Definitely.
sitting there. We go back to Sienna.
Looks like West is trying to go for the same shot on that Waupaca stone. Trying to keep the line straight.
Counterclockwise off the right hand. Now it's switched. They're just letting it go and it's heavy. So, well, it worked.
Really nice shot.
Nice. Now things have changed where Wausau West has 2 counts. And when we talk about count, we're not talking about at the end of the end. It's during action play, moving through the 16 rocks that are involved.
Yeah.
And you can see from this vantage point there are red rocks on one team's and yellow rocks on the other. And you can tell, okay, how many rocks are left if they show that on occasion, which they do on the screen. But you can also see it on the monitor with the buttons that are being used. And this is plenty heavy. And basically opens up the
Port. Opens up the
ports,
center.
yeah, both sides.
Both stones are still buried a little bit more than half.
Well, Wausau West down 5-1. They're trying to get back up closer.
Yep. And it's working.
Every end is important because, you know, they're doing 8. And you want to have an opportunity. That's my biggest thing in high school sports is I don't care what the sport is. You want to feel competitive, like you have a chance to win when you go on the court, when you go on the field, when you go on the diamond, when you go on the ice. You want to feel you can win this.
Mm-hmm. I think they do have a chance to win this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, they sure do. Okay, now we've got the two skips involved, and because West scored the last end, their skip, Maggie Hintz, is going first.
Yep.
And she's a sophomore. Good competition, or concentration.
Going for a draw, I think.
Well, skip now is the third, and she's decided to let her come.
And that's going to work out for her because that's going to block more of the center.
Yeah.
And it's going to sit right at the top of the house.
So now they're laying three, count three. Yep. Waupaca coming in with a 1-1 mark in their round, round of three. If they win, they have a chance to be in the final. Semifinal, finals. Wausau West with an 0-2, they're out of that. This is their last game.
Yep.
They know it, and they just want to finish on a good end, with a win. Yeah. Sometimes you'll get the two teams that both have a chance to be in the semifinals, but not the case here. Well, they were seeded 3-4, so. Once the brackets are set, the brackets are a draw.
Mm-hmm. Nice shot. It's got it rolling.
Well, okay, it's still 2 for West. Count. Let's see. The hammer. No, belonging to Waupaca. As we finish N4. Taking their time. I've seen a couple of left-hand curlers.
Yeah.
Not many.
It's very rare.
And this.
Trying to let it just go on someone. Oh, now they get on it. Trying to drag it.
They'll drag it just a little bit. They have the room. It depends on the weight right now.
Yep.
I don't think they didn't want that, I don't think.
They might have wanted it.
I mean, it's not going to hurt them.
No. They don't have hammer. If anything, that's helping.
Yeah.
Looks like they're trying to go for that run back.
Are they going for a timeout? No. Huh. Interesting. Other folks out there, I don't know. There you get a little bit of a view of the other ice sheets. There are 8 in all. Right now there are 4 girls competition games going on and 4 boys. Girls 1 through 4, boys 5 through 8 for usage on the ice.
Last stone coming down.
Last stone for Waupaca.
It's a nice try.
And we're going to still stay with our 2 for West. So it's tightening up on the board. Started out after 2, 5-0 Waupaca. Now after 4, it's 5-3 Waupaca. And that's happened a lot in this tournament. One team gets off to a good start, and then things narrow.
Yeah.
And I've seen that over and over in this state tournament this year.
I think that's the other team finally figuring out the ice, learning it, using that to their advantage against Waupaca.
And again, West is looking for their 1 win in this round robin tournament where they play, three games total because they're playing the other 3 in the bracket. Waupaca has more at stake here than Wausau West does because they still have a shot at being in the semifinals.
Yep. Little parent encouragement right there.
Well, you can see the bleachers, not full yet, but pretty close.
They're getting there.
Yeah.
Oh, they start to dwindle after teams are eliminated.
Yeah. And some have been.
Yes.
Okay, we go to end 5 now as we move on. The second half of the game. High school curling is 8 ends. And occasionally you'll have an extra run. I haven't seen it for a while, but it does happen.
Very rare.
Wow.
Very nice button shot.
How could you not be good, feeling good about that for a rock? Don't see that very often either, Dan.
No, you don't.
At this level, you really don't.
Good for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Packer trying to go for a guard.
Waupaca has the hammer because West just scored, but the West girl with her very first rock, Caroline Kurth, a freshman, put it in the button.
Yep.
And it's, you don't see that, like you said, Dan, very often. When things are wide open, that, Well, sometimes, depending upon the situation too, they'll not even try for in the button the first one. They'll go for a guard or something. But in that case, they're down by a couple. They need to get things in the house.
Yeah, definitely.
This is Caroline's second shot now. And it has enough weight the way it looks like it'll be in play.
Just trying to do the same thing or just guard it. Looks like the same thing.
Wow. Well, do you think she's accomplished?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Put one in the button, put out a guard.
Yeah.
Nice job. Second rock for Maya Wazinski. Now in her case, she grabbed her brace and just stepped aside. She didn't follow them like some girls do, or boys. And it's heavy enough, but it's going to go right through and out of play. Beyond the back line. The skip of the other team has the option and the opportunity, once it's in the back end, to sweep it beyond out of play.
Yeah,
there she didn't have to.
Past the tee line, you're allowed to sweep that.
Yep. This is the first rock for Tyrone Verslagen. She's a junior, Verstagen.
Which is the same spot as.
Yeah, another. Okay. Well, they're down by a couple, so what they're doing is putting it in the house, and they're doing a nice job of it.
Gotta take something out here for Waupaca.
Myra Wasinski. All 4 rinks. The Grace Hansen rink for Waupaca are juniors.
And they were doing a really nice job. Trying to keep that line straight.
That is heavy enough to do some damage.
And it will.
Boy, is that a nice shot, huh?
Yeah.
Now Waupaca has a count. So in 1 rock, it changed from one team with 3 rocks, 3 count, to Waupaca now having one near the button.
And having count.
Yeah, nice job. You know, it's interesting. This end, things are happening.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing what they plan on doing. This is real heavy.
That's what they want. Oh.
Yeah, that didn't do anything for him. The angle just didn't work for him. Okay, now we're back to Waupaca.
Either taking it out or going for a guard.
Myra Wasinski.
I would say go for takeout on that west stone. Open it up.
Nice release. Like any sport, curling, rhythm, comfort. And part of that is doing the very same thing every time you put your foot on the hack and you're ready to go, you do the same routine. There's another takeout.
Great. Waupaca sitting 2. Maybe 3 over on the top right there.
Well, it's hard to tell from that upper camera. I've made a mistake more than once on what I thought the score would be.
Yeah. Those cameras bend at the edges.
That's right. Right. Well,
looks a little bit wide. He's curling. Sweep for curl.
It's going to be, well, okay, she did all right. Down to 1, who knows about 1 or 2 now, but the button's wide open again.
Yeah.
That's one of the things in curling too. You look at that circle, that concentric circle, and every time you look at it, it's different. You got 16 rocks in an end, and the configuration of them when they finish and end is always different.
Yeah.
There we go. First rock for Sienna Tim. Here's my skip.
Might sit in the back of the house, back in the 12. I just barely peek out.
Well, yeah, the sweep there by Maggie Hintz of West put it in the blue and accomplished that much, but it's still in play.
Yeah. And that can work as back if you're trying to sit 1 on the Packer.
Well, they're busy on the sweep this time.
Yeah. It's really got to get there, and they need it for weight if they want to get in the house.
It's not going to happen, so I guess we can call it a guard.
Yeah.
Now they're moving along on this end. Not taking a lot of time and a lot of strategy involved. Decisions are made more quickly. Quicker.
Yep.
Proper English. Well, this time she's decided to follow along. Probably a little more happy with what she thinks the result will be here.
Yep. It's going to bump on the guard, maybe raise it a little bit.
Yeah, it didn't change anything really. Well, maybe. No, I don't think so.
Still to Waupaca.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we're at the last rock for the thirds. And they have the, Waupaca has the nice uniforms. West does too. The caps are the only thing for one of them. You can tell this is an odd numbered end because they start
down at the glass.
Yeah, at the glass.
Far side.
For end one, so. Yeah.
It's close. First rock, first skips.
So far they're saving their timeout. Coach can call one. Athletes can call one. Coach has to be between ends. Plenty heavy.
Might overcurl. Just a little.
Okay, wow. We've got a lot of blue. A lot of 12-foot. As we get down now to the first shot for Waupaca. Grace Hansen, skip. Despite the fact that there's nothing really in the 4-foot or even the 8-foot, there are points out here.
Yep.
And right now, I couldn't tell you other than I think one has 1 point on the two teams. That's it.
It doesn't really count, or in this strategy, you wouldn't really want anything closer to the button where it's wide open on the center line, because then the other team's just going to take it out.
Yeah.
Playing farther out in the 12-foot or the blue would be ideal here.
Just keeping in mind, of course, who has the hammer, because that's always a factor. And West. Last shot for them. Yeah, it looks like, boy, there'll be a lot of points, right?
Yeah.
Not in the house, but that's not the case.
A lot of them are out counting each other.
Because it only counts closest to the button.
Yep.
Could be 1, could be 3, could be 4. Conceivably 5, but that's really rare.
Yeah. Highest I've seen is like 7.
Really? 7?
Yeah, 7.
7 out of 8, wow.
I think it was our boys varsity about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Scored 7 on Medford in one end.
Oh my gosh. That's something, if you're curling at this level, you'd remember that.
Oh yeah. I think Marshfield did it too during TG this year. While they're playing portage, third end.
Oh.
You look down for 1 second, it's tied. You look up, Marshfield's ahead by 7. I'm like, wow.
Okay.
Was trying to go for the same shot. Might be in the same place as that last one. Well, just barely count.
That's a counter. Okay, now. Strategy time.
Try and follow it down or just draw for the button.
We're ending end 5 here. With this rock. Okay.
Trying to just draw from up, I think.
Wausau West trailing 5-3.
Maybe just a little bit too heavy. May just rub on that west rock. Oh,
Well, there you go.
there you go.
So that's 1
Waupaca.
for Waupaca. And with all those rocks, stones in the circle, that's it.
Yep.
1 point. So now Waupaca leads 6-3 after 5. Plenty of time left for West to counter. And they gave up 1 rock that time. And with that, now the hammer goes over the other team. So West will have the hammer on number 6. As we move on, now you can see some action on some of the other sheets. All of them are busy. 4 of them with girls competition, 4 with boys.
Brooklyn starting off.
Yeah, Brooklyn Pio for the Waupaca rank of Grace Hansen. Well, they're up now 6-3, so maybe it's time for guards to be involved.
Yep. Really nice sounding guard right there.
Yeah, it is.
There's another West team out there. I think that's Wausau West boys too.
Well, let's see. We can tell you the teams that are out there. We just can't see them. Yeah, the West 2 is playing .2. A few sheets over. Point and West both with 1 and 2 teams. Like East has 2. I think a couple others do too.
Portage.
Well, we're in end 6 now. So we're getting down toward strategy being more important. Second stone for Brooklyn Pio.
Really nice.
Wow. I've seen more in the last 2 ends in this game in the button than I have 5 other games, 6 other games. It's like they've got that ice figured out.
They do.
They've got that ice down. I mean, you know, that draw thing is difficult. But then again, it's up to the curlers and their strength too, sometimes, and what they practice more, what they feel more comfortable with,
Yeah.
what they're being asked to do more.
Looking like a little raise, maybe. Yeah.
There it is. It's a count potential.
And that would work for Waupaca. Now in strategy, I would just guard on that right side coming down. So that way you narrow it so they can't get as many in there. Especially if your most center stone is going to out count everything.
Maya Lasinski. Again, the skip is telling him to get busy. Once it gets across that hog line, and they get a sense of, where it's going to go and end up.
Another nice shot.
Yeah, well, they've got 3 in there now.
It's hard for West to get at those with those guards.
Well, but they need to.
Yeah.
They need to get something going here. Plenty of time left. This is the first shot for the second for West. Turin Verstegen. She does
Get close.
very well. Yeah, she's got. They've got this ice better than I've seen in terms of draw. I mean, they're
Really nice.
yeah. I'm impressed. Second shot for Wasinski. Wasinski with the release.
Needs curl.
And there's a little bit,
Trying to help it over the sweeper.
plenty of weight to do something.
Just a little too wide. Big sit. Yeah.
It sits in the count, but in the blue. The way things are setting up here, though, that one that was just sitting back in the blue that happened isn't going to be involved in the finish.
Not immediately, but maybe later on, depending on how,
Yeah.
if Waupaca wants to take everything out. Trying to sweep it for weight. Maybe just get it biting.
No. Not enough. When you think about it, and I know how many feet that is, or I knew at one time how many feet it is from the hack to the circle, but we're talking, what, 70 feet, 80 feet? I don't really know for sure. I forgot.
From the hack to the closest hog line,
Yeah.
or the one?
No,
or
the
house?
far one.
The far house.
Yeah.
It's about 200 feet.
So you figure that, and then you have the circle and you've got the button.
Yep.
You're talking about a long distance to be able to stop it correctly where you want to.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes some skill, maybe a little luck once in a while.
Dusting luck.
At least you're being honest about it now.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking to Dan Gurick, and he is an assistant coach for the varsity at DC Everest, so we're getting a coaching perspective here.
Quotations around coaching. The boys did great. They played their hardest. They lost 3 in a row, which is sad.
Yeah.
Especially for the senior.
Right. Yeah.
But they played their hardest.
Well, that's all you can ask.
Yeah.
And then, you play and you play the best you can. And the thing about curling, there's a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
It's a tournament. And so, and eventually the toughest part is being the senior and having your last game. And that's typically here at the state tournament.
Yeah.
So they look forward to it in more than one way. It's not just a tournament. It's It's the state. It's the end of my senior year. And how many of them are going to curl outside of a club situation once they graduate from high school?
Not a whole lot.
No. There are some colleges that have curling teams, but not. Nice takeout.
Yeah. But if you're going down south in the country, like to Florida or Alabama or Texas, it's too hot for a curling club. Too much humidity.
Right.
Way too expensive. But northern teams like Minnesota, Madison. I know Harvard has one.
Hmm.
Point won the NCAA national championship last year for curling, or 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, and they get their recruits from, quite a distance.
Yeah.
Well, we still have one count for West, and they're down 6-3, so they can certainly use it. As we're in N6.
Waupaca trying to think of what to do.
Well, if you look at the history of the state tournament, the girls' history, the first year was 1976, and Medford was the winner. For the boys, they started in 1959, and Wausau Senior High was the winner the first year. Last year, Point won the boys. Last year, Poinet won the girls.
Poinet's won the last 2 years in a row.
Yeah, they did. And they had 2 girls that were on both teams.
Yep.
So they had the experience, and they used it.
Yep.
To their advantage. And that's, experience is one of the big factors in curling.
Tegan Thurston from Poinet has gone to Junior Olympics this last January or February.
Okay.
With the whole team to South Korea. They didn't make the not the semifinals. They didn't make the out of the round robin, but they still played really well.
Yeah, well, and the Wendlings were down there.
Oh yeah.
That rink.
Ella with the bronze.
Yeah.
And then her brother, Wes Wendling's up in Finland right now playing at Worlds.
Isn't that something?
I know.
I mean, it's one in the Wendlings you have to give them credit. I mean, they're a family, they're curlers, but that's only a start.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go beyond that. You have to have ability. You have to have mentality, tight, discipline. Wow.
And I've played Wes Wendling almost my whole curling career.
Sure.
And playing him at the high schooler, he was really quiet. Like, he would not talk to anyone on the ice when he was playing against them. But when over winter break, he came back to play U21 mixed doubles with Shields.
Right.
And he was just really talkative, and he was just so much smarter in curling, and just so well, out there.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, and that's a success story.
Yes.
And, as young as he is, curling is going to be the rest of his life, too, if he chooses. So who knows?
Next Olympian.
Well, didn't somebody from a rink from Madison win that thing once? Not the last one, but the one before? Seems to me they did. Or they were certainly in the finals.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you were probably not even interested in curling yet then that much.
Probably not.
We got to put things in perspective here.
Yeah.
Well, this game looks to me more like a girls' competition. That's a full house.
With a lot of guards.
A lot of guards out on top. A complicated mess to solve for strategy. But they're going to try. And this is the second shot for the skip. And they're still discussing it.
Looking for a run back on that.
Okay, Wausau West has the hammer, so they have the last shot coming. What? Going back to the hack, setting up will be Maggie Hintz.
Grace.
Okay, I got that one wrong. That's right, they scored last. So then West has the hammer. Grace Hansen, Waupaca, Skip. And they're all junior rink. Well, what she's looking at from where she is like, really?
It's a mess, but you can get something in there.
Oh, yeah. Well, she just took out a guard.
Just a hair line.
Now, West has a point.
Yes.
They're down 6-3. Do you try to add to that one and take that chance, or do you say, okay, we're going to get one, let's take one?
I think they're going to risk it and try and take more than just one.
Okay. Well, they're down by 3, so, you know, but it's kind of a gamble.
It is. Sometimes you have to take those risks.
The one in there looks pretty safe.
Mm.
It looks very safe, actually. Well, let's see what Maggie hits, and she's a sophomore. Has decided. We're in N6, the last rock. They're making sure they have enough weight.
I mean,
Well, she still got the 1.
yes,
They got the 1, but that was a little scary.
that was.
That was a little scary, but we'll give them 1. So now after N6, Waupaca's lead has been cut to 2 again at 6-4. With 2 ends to go. You can always say in curling, anything can happen.
They can.
And it's the truth.
Rocks can pick. Tide might change. Other team might pull a big end on you. You never know.
Well, now 2. Waupaca has the hammer.
Yep.
And they're up by 2. So from a coaching standpoint, what is their main strategy?
You have hammer. No, you don't have hammer. Sorry. I would try and plug up the middle. The more you plug up the middle, it's harder for the other team to get anything into the center and score points.
Okay.
So what I would do is just put a center line guard right down the middle and then put something behind it on top of the 4-foot or on top of that red ring.
Okay.
And then just sit there.
Yeah, they've got the 2-goal or 2-rock lead.
Because if you narrow them down to 1 into the 8th, then you just score on them.
They also have the hammer, though, don't they? Because West scored 1, so they would have the hammer.
Yes.
Here in N7. Okay, that's West's first rock from Caroline Kurth, a freshman. But Kurth family, you know, like the Kirsch family too for Wausau West.
The Kirsch, yeah.
You know, they've got 2 on 1 team in this tournament. First rock for Brooklyn Peel. Second and third doing the sweeping and working hard at it.
Trying to just get it biting past that West rock.
Didn't happen, but it's early, so that could play a role yet. Second toss now for Caroline Kurth. And you can see the folks behind. Looks like the bleachers are pretty full now.
Yeah. Might thin out a little bit after these final games end up in the round robin.
Well, yeah, because some teams are out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, sometimes they'll stick around and watch the finals, and sometimes, you know, I have other things to do where I've got a longer distance to go on drive.
Yeah, especially the southern teams.
Mm-hmm.
Driving 2 hours plus.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Second shot coming up. Just a raise and
No work.
Yeah. Okay.
Buried behind the West End. But that might end up being a negative for the Waupaca.
Yeah. Okay. This is now our second. Twin Verstegen for West. This is West 2 team we're talking about.
Yes.
They have 2 girls teams, 2 boys teams in the tournament. A 1 and a 2. Some people would say, okay, is that a varsity, junior varsity? It can be.
Junior varsity.
Yeah. This one.
Really nice draw.
You talked about your strategy earlier. I can see some of it happening.
Yeah. And that's something as a coach, you just have to like sit there and watch. You want to go out there and be like, no, do this. But you can't. You have to just sit there and watch.
But there's a reason, and I agree with the reason.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I've done enough coaching and done enough games of high school sports and watched and had my own children involved that you're better off just being a support person.
Yep.
As a parent. You know? Just support your children and what they want to do and how they're doing it.
Yep.
That's not always the case. This one, well, that's going to be sitting okay. That's a count. I think they've got 2 count in there now.
Yep.
Nice release. Second shot for Wausau West. Well, that changes.
Yep.
1 count for West. They're down by 2. We're in N7. 8 regulation. Haven't had a tie that I know of. Might have been one in the tournament this weekend. When you think of the number of games that have been played, wow.
Yeah. Especially during PG. They've gone from a 2-day tournament to a 3-day, having started early on Thursday.
Okay.
Just so many teams.
Uh-huh. They wanted to make it with some force here. Open up a port. By taking that out. Wausau West with the best uniform. Blue and gold. Okay.
Trying to plug up that port so Waupaca can't get in there. He's curl.
And that's not what they wanted to do. But it's still in play.
Yep.
And they still have one. One count. This N7 moving right along. In fact, this game has moved right along.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a lot of discussion taking a little extra time on the part of the skip and third, but we picked this up in N3 and the first two ends took a long time, but they got a late start, as you said, Dan.
Yeah.
Interesting how that worked.
Yeah.
Just a little touch and all the way through. Had enough weight and the angle is so important. Where you hit the rock. And we're going to try it again.
Hopefully get those out.
Yeah. This is a big 2-3 rocks left here.
That helps them.
Boy, that helps a lot. They've got a guard on a red, a 4-foot. Yeah, that was, I don't know if that was their strategy.
It was a nice plan B, though.
Yeah, you're right. And you usually have a plan B, right? At least in your head.
Always try to have a plan B. If you don't, make one up.
Yeah, right. Spoken like a true coach, always. Always.
Always.
Or never.
I always try to have a plan B in my head.
Uh-huh.
Because if I don't, then I think it will go sideways somehow.
Well, now they're at 1 point. They are at 1 point. Waupaca has the hammer. We're down to the skips now. With their rocks. As you can see, the house is busy, but there's some guards involved. First shot now for Kenya McFadden. He's a junior.
Maggie. Skips rocks.
All right. Something happened behind us.
Yep. Don't know what.
Yeah, no way of knowing, really. It's usually quiet in here. We're up in a loft, and so, you know, all we see is the monitor. But we can hear the murmur and the claps and that below, and they usually start about now.
Yeah.
The last couple of ends of each game.
Yeah. They get louder and louder, getting closer to finals.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna roll out. Oh, it's stuck. It's gonna stick.
Now they're back to 2.
What do they need?
Yeah. All right. Still got some rocks left. You can see the red, the rocks over to the right of the circle are out of play. And West is getting in a situation now where they need rocks in that house to score. So this next few here, before the end of this end 7, will determine all the strategy down the stretch in number 8.
Yeah.
Because they could be tied, they could be 4 down. And that's how important this is.
A lot of noise.
A lot of laughter, Dan.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Oh.
Well, now they're still at 2. According to the upper camera.
Yeah.
Camera above.
Might be 3.
It might be 3. Maybe. Well. This is it for Maggie. She's got 2 in there. Does she put something out to protect those 2?
I would, yeah. Especially if you need those 2.
Well, that ties the game if they get them.
Trying to get it there.
Yeah, you don't want it too heavy. You don't want
it too far close to the house where they can use it.
That's okay.
Yeah, that works.
That's okay. All right. A big, big shot in this game coming up right now for Grace Hansen of the Hansen rink. The skip. It's going to make it's going to determine it could be a tie, or if she's able to do something to help her cause, they can add to their 2-point advantage coming into number 8. And here's a situation, Dan, where let's talk about it.
If I was Waupaca, I would definitely try to run back my own stone into the west count 1. Because then that would eliminate 1 at least. And maybe, depending on how it looks like they're going for it, depending on how it hits and what angle, it could roll over and maybe just nudge the second count rock back a little bit far enough.
Okay.
Maybe we can get more than just 1.
So Grace Hansen, last rock. Just taking the last look at it before she focuses on her release. Okay. All right. I can tell she's ready.
She's got it.
She's made the decision and she's ready. And she's the skip. And it looks like they've got enough weight to make things happen.
Trying to get curl over a little bit. Line looks good. And it's just far enough.
I think
that's right.
I think red gets 1. But again, the overhand cameras, it's tough to tell. Boy, now they have to decide.
They might measure. They're going to measure.
They're going to measure. Okay, we have a measurement. Been waiting for this. And you know how important this is. It could be 6-5 going in, or it could be 7-4. I mean, so a matter of 2 points based on this measurement. Now, from the overhead camera, I would give the point to Waupaca.
I would too.
So we'll see.
I always tell my team, even if it's close, measure. Like, if it's a hair off, measure.
Yeah. Well, you have that right. And I think sometimes, Dan, you have that responsibility
Yeah.
to your team to be sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, this is interesting. Well, we'll see one now, finally. As they come in at the end of 7. There it is, the measuring device.
You gotta let it cool down first.
Yeah.
Looks like they did that behind the back. If you don't let the measuring tool cool off, it'll melt a bigger hole in the center of the button.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what not makes the club happy.
Okay, there's the first measurement. It's just they brush it, right? I mean,
Yeah, they just let it like go across his face of the stone.
Uh-huh.
And it'll give an amount of pressure between, usually they want it between 2 and 3 or 1 and 2.
Okay. There we go. Well, it's gonna,
Waupaca.
Waupaca gets 1, yeah. We're at 7-4 now. We were right from up above. But that's how close this game has become. And you know, and Wausau West too still has a shot at it. And they came in 0-2, so they're out of the semi.
Yeah.
Waupaca still has an opportunity, or at least a chance. I don't know what the overall result is for their bracket. The other 2 teams in there, Poynette and Partyville, you'd have to say are rated higher.
I think I looked at the Poynette scoring, and they're 2-0
Okay.
going into semifinals.
So they're playing Partyville.
Yes.
Okay.
I think they played Partyville earlier, just the game before this
Oh,
one.
okay.
There's the stands full.
All right. Yeah, there you go. They've been showing the cafeteria here a little bit. Haven't seen this shot.
No?
No. They swept with the sweep. They went all over into the cafeteria. See this tournament. You know, the local teams, East, Everest, West, they have the kitchen.
Yep.
And it's East this year.
Yes.
So if you're looking for the East coach,
He's most likely in the
you're
kitchen.
going in the kitchen, probably doing dishes.
Yeah, that's where I saw him last.
That's how it works. But it's so fair. It's so common sense how they handle so many things here.
And it's nice that the club lets us run the kitchen for these events.
Oh yeah.
And there's the timeout.
Yeah.
Plus
There's your timeout, huh?
Jim Wendling over on the left.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Jim does the girls and the boys.
Yeah.
And he runs this tournament. So if you want to see Jim, you know, you got to run around a little bit. Oh, you know, this technology stuff, Dan,
Yeah.
you never know. We've got people on the cameras and over there who are waving at us to let us know we're on camera.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to be looking at the monitor the whole time,
Yeah.
which
We are.
we are until they motion and we can see it, that they're motioning us that, oh, you guys are on the camera. So I got to sit up better, okay? Sit up a little more alert.
That's all right, though.
Dan, the assistant coach for the Everest boys team on the varsity.
Yep.
And we're down to the last end of the game here, which is the last of the pre-round robin contests.
Yeah.
And there we go. Timeout's over.
Start of the 8th.
The hammer belongs to West. They trail by 3. Let's see if they can come back. But it's another game that I like because it's competitive and it's right down to the end.
Yeah.
They'll shake hands, but it'll be over. Earned for 8 ends. So, Brooklyn Peel, first rock. Yeah, the being on camera stuff. I think I made a mistake talking about that beforehand to them.
At least they gave us a signal, not just like, oh, there we are.
Yeah.
I look over, I'm like jumping up and down.
Well, we're on camera for 20 seconds before the competition, and typically after. But our people on the technology right now, they like to take a timeout when they have a timeout on the ice.
Yeah.
And send it back to us and embarrass us. That's the whole purpose.
They're laughing.
Of course they are. Oh. Well, you know, doing this too, Dan, and you're doing a really nice job, and I appreciate it, and you're certainly welcome. It is fun in a way.
It's a fun.
You know, and it's not, we're not serious.
No, we're not like ESPN.
No. No. We're not rated either, by the way. I don't think.
Okay.
Okay. 7-4. Waupaca Rock.
Split in the house.
Second one.
Maybe a little bit too.
Peel. Now we're back to what's really important, and that's what's happening on the ice. Well, I was glad to be able to see a measurement, though, because I think it's unique, and it works, and it's based on science.
It works really well. There's another tool we have out there called a biter to see if a rock is in the house or not. It's just like this long stick. It has a curve at the end with a little, I don't know,
Pin.
kind of pin. It's a rounded. And it just goes around, and then if it stops, the house is in, or the rock is in the house.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Caroline Kurth's second rock. Now we set up.
Discussing what to do.
Yeah. Waupaca with the first rock for the second.
If I was Waupaca, I would just defend or just take everything out of the house that's not yours. Just limit them.
Now Rosinski.
If I was West, I would just sit on everything. Because you don't have, it's really hard to try and score 3, especially in the 8th end when the other team is up.
Things that have, number one, your strategy has to work. They have to do what the strategy indicates. They need to get 3 points to keep it going. They don't need 4 to keep it going.
Yeah, but to try and get 3 is really
Right.
tough.
Well, it's, yeah, especially when you know, you're the team, and one thing you have is a hammer. You have that going for you. And there's the release. First rock for Twin Verslagen. But all the girls on the ice right now are what you'd call underclassmen. So this is not the game necessarily for them in curling at the high school level.
Yeah.
They'll have the option to be back in another year or 2. Or in Caroline Kurth, she's a freshman.
Yeah.
Even 3. My guess from that family and their involvement over the years, she's going to be involved.
Yeah.
Okay, last shot for Maya Rosinski.
Trying to get rubs it.
Oh, okay.
Out counts it.
Yeah. Well, now we can start counting rocks.
Yeah.
Potential for West. They're down 3, and they need to have at least 3 count. So they've got to get 3 in the house that count. So, okay, something happened.
Something big.
Yeah.
Looks like Wausau West 2 for boys.
Okay. All right. Well, West has a couple in there now. Sienna, there's Skip, her third, with her first rock. And like we mentioned before, when you get closer to the end, sometimes it takes a little longer to set the strategy.
Yeah.
Which is natural.
And they're allowed to do that.
Yeah, there's no time limit.
Trying to get it by. It's by. Just trying to get it to 7. And they get it.
Wow.
Really nice button shot.
Wow. Now, you talk about putting pressure.
That's all. Yeah.
You couldn't have more pressure. They either have to get rid of that right away, or they won't get any points.
That's a tough shot to get away.
Yeah. So they've got the opportunity to do it with some rocks remaining, but whoa. This is the first rock for Kenna McFadden. The third. Let's see what she can do. Came up light.
This don't work out for Waupaca though.
Yeah. It's getting close.
It is. This is where nerves start to set in.
Second shot for Sienna Tim. She's just setting up a guard, kind of. I mean, make it more difficult. They don't have to have a lot of rocks in the house. They're up by 3.
Yeah.
They just need to make it very, and especially with somebody in the button like that. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better situation.
Yeah. Trying to peel that guard out, or just run it back, open it up.
Well, she's got the weight to do something.
Yep.
Oh.
Just rub
Now, if you're Wausau West, that's how close you came.
that.
Yeah. Well, with 2 rocks left for West, 2 for Waupaca. Mathematically, they still have a shot.
They do. They just have to tap that 1 in count out.
Right. But that becomes the option.
Yep.
As Waupaca now with their skip, Grace Hansen, heading down, setting up by the hack. I haven't seen the Waupaca girls celebrate yet. They're being cool about it.
Yeah. Trying to look cool.
Yeah.
Trying to stay cool.
Outside anyway.
Yeah.
Inside, then I'm sure it's very different.
Yeah.
because they have a chance now. They have a chance to be in the semifinals because their record will be 2-1. Wausau East, Wausau West 2 ending their season, but they're underclassmen, as I mentioned, so there isn't quite as much emotion involved.
Yeah. It is confirmed that Poinet for the girls are moving on to semifinals.
Oh, okay. So this is it for the tournament for both West and Waupaca.
Yes.
But Waupaca finished with a 2-1 record, so they can feel
Good about that.
yeah, they did their share to some extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wausau West. Well, when we look at the circle from up above, the camera up above, we'll be able to tell, when it's mathematically possible
Or
for West. Right now it's improbable, but you still try. And this is Grace Hansen, skip for the Hansen rink.
Maggie.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the wrong one. Maggie hits the sophomore. All right. Yeah, Hansen's Waupaca. Okay. Maggie hits. She needs a miracle.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
First one.
No, I'm not talking about the Olympic men's hockey team either. The miracle on ice.
Different kind of ice.
Yeah. Different setting.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. I don't know how you could do it anymore.
I don't.
Well, they've got 3. They do have 3 in the house.
They do, yeah.
But how do you get rid of
That one red.
that red with one more rock? Period. I mean, even,
It's tough.
yeah. West does have the hammer. I mean, they've got that one shot left. Job for Grace now is just not to goof it up, not to make a mistake.
Yep.
And that's exactly what they're doing. They're just
Letting it be.
letting it be. It doesn't even have to get across the hog line. They don't care. But it is, so it's still in play.
Yeah. They're just trying to guard anything at this point.
Right. So this would be the last rock right here.
Yep.
Yeah. For that one release, that one, and I don't remember which one of the girls it was for Waupaca that put that in the button.
I think that was their second.
That would be Rosinski. Really changed this whole game.
It did.
Because coming in, being down 3, you'd have an opportunity. But boy, when somebody else puts one in the button and you've got all the stones around there and the guards and whatever, and your ports are narrow, more than narrow.
Yeah. Thin.
Yeah. But maybe we'll give it a try. Well, her teammates or rink mates are trying to point something out to her as she comes down. This could be it now. Well, it is for the game.
Yeah.
We're not going to have a tie. So you can just end up by scoring, making a tighter score, but it's it's been a good one. It's been competitive, and again, you know, we can all say it's down to the last rock. It is, but not really. But it was down to the last end.
Close. They played well.
You know, she tried, and they played. You know, they got. It's just that one on the button.
Yep.
Just, you know. So the final score is Waupaca 8, Wausau West 2, 4. Waupaca ends up in their bracket with a 2-1 record. West 0-3. So both of them are not in the semifinals. So this was their season for the most part. But again, Dan, underclassmen, women. So they'll be back.
Yeah.
Had another try. Well, Dan Garrick, the assistant coach for the Everest varsity boys curling team, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Did a nice job. I think you enjoyed it okay?
Yeah.
Until next time on Wausau Area Access Media, curling tournament continues. Till next time, take care.
Good curling.
Well, we got the signal, so we're off camera.